Good morning and welcome back to the TDP, Tim's Daily Podcast. Decided to record this a little early today. I am completely slammed all day after I think I start meetings here in just a little bit, and it's just like all day I'm going, but that's okay. Gotta pay the bills. See, this is what it is right here. Got my Ray Dunn coffee cup, courtesy of Miss Jennifer. So I've gotten to this weird habit lately. I'll get up and while I'm drinking my coffee before I start work, I'll scroll Twitter. And it's a weird place to be. First thing in the morning, scrolling. And then it's one thing, you look at Twitter, and then you end up, you're reading comments or posts or whatever from people. And it's usually just like the news, right? But then you end up on Reels. Like every social media platform has went to this, Reels. I gotta start making Reels. Obviously, there's something to it, right? But so you end up on Reels on Twitter. And let me tell you something. Reels on Twitter is different than Reels on Facebook. On Facebook, yeah, you might see some maybe controversial things on Reels. You see like a lot of like TikToks, like tame TikTok videos on Reels on Facebook, right? So, and that's fine. It's funny. It's, obviously it's addictive and probably not very healthy, there on Facebook. But when you get on Twitter, things get real quick. I could tell you like 3 wild things I seen this morning while just reels on TikTok, reels on Twitter, I should say. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm just you just become completely. I don't know if our minds are wired to handle that much trauma. I seen this dude, this estranged boyfriend comes to the door, tries to break in, and it's a Ring camera. Well, the girlfriend's dad is there, and this guy's trying to break in. He just shoots him. It's on Twitter. He just shoots him. Which, maybe he got what he deserved. Look, if someone comes to my house breaking in, you're rolling the dice. But I don't know if I'm going to put it on Twitter, And then there was another one. It's another one. There was these people shoveling snow in Pennsylvania. And one neighbor comes out just completely pissed, mad because these other neighbors are shoveling snow into his driveway. Well, they get into a shouting match. The guy, there's like a husband and wife duo are the ones apparently shoveling the snow into their neighbor's yard. So the guy that's complaining that they're shoveling the snow into his yard goes in, gets a gun, comes back with a handgun. The guy calls him a pussy and, things, they just keep talking. And the guy just starts shooting at this family, this couple. They're like maybe late 40s, early 50s or something. And he gets off 5 shots from maybe 8 feet, 10 feet away and misses every time, but he finally hits. And basically just murders these people right in the yard. And then goes in and commits suicide. And you can hear, that's a lot of trauma for a morning scroll, right? And that's not even all. That's probably the most wild. But then there's Alex Jones, halting this minivan, and it shows this guy loading these migrant children. I mean, and these are like 2, 3, 4-year-old children, just like stuffing them in a van. And I don't want to be hyperbolic. I'm not trying to hype this up. I mean, it is what it is. Excuse me. It is what it is. They loaded the kids into, and this is in Texas. They load the kids into the van. You know, no seat belts, no nothing. I mean, but yeah, I mean, obviously you gotta. I mean, we have laws. You have to have, you know, children have to be sitting in seat belts. I mean, listen, if you have a child who is 3 or 4 years old, and you know, say they had a birthday party, and you needed to get all those children from one spot to the next, and you put them all in your minivan, and you got pulled over, I mean, you're going to be in some, there's going to be problems. You know, that's against the law. But when you add on to that there's like a huge human trafficking problem, and it's really coming from the border crisis and the migrants coming across, just walking across the border every day. So now you have like these nefarious characters who are just stuffing kids in vans on the streets in America and taking them to who knows where they're taking them. Nobody knows. Like Alex Jones was like being, you know, like he was just being Alex Jones. You know, he was just being very loud and boisterous and even obnoxious, rightfully so, because of what was happening. But he said, "There's a problem with human trafficking, and you what are you doing? Where are you taking these kids? Who are you?" And the guy wouldn't tell his name. I mean, he had a t-shirt on that said staff on the back, and he was wearing a mask for some reason. But yeah, I mean, it's wild. I mean, you get on Twitter, that Twitter scroll is something. I don't know if I'm going to do that anymore. It's too much. Obviously, it gives me content. Like, I can think of things to talk about on this podcast because of it. So maybe I need to keep. But I don't think it's very good. I don't think it's good for anybody to have to put themselves through that. You know. So, anyways, speaking of things we should be concerned about in human trafficking, sex trafficking, things like that. That movie, The Sound of Freedom, is actually on Amazon Prime. If you guys have not seen that, I would recommend it just for awareness, like just so you know what's going on. We get very comfortable in our seats. We get very comfortable in our lives. We get very comfortable. And we don't see what's actually happening. And what's actually happening is that right now, I mean, according to this movie, and I think it's been highly acclaimed, and you know, a lot of people have been talking about that since last summer. I mean, I know it came out in July and it was on Daily Wire, and I'm not subscribing to something else. I already got enough subscriptions, so I was like, oh yeah, I'll just wait on that one. And it came out on Prime, so I watched it, but I would recommend it. I lost my train of thought, but anyways, it's definitely, oh yeah, what I was going to say is like, it's such a big business right now. I mean, and I'm not saying it's a good business. It's just a big business. Human trafficking, human slavery. There's in the movie, at the end of the movie, you know, they always have the scroll at the end where they talk about, because it was based on a true story, based on a real Department of Homeland Security. I think, what did he work for? Maybe he was working, I can't remember what agency he worked for. I think it was the DOH, maybe. Anyways, he was an agent at the border, basically, you know, doing drug interdiction, human trafficking interdiction into America. He does an investigation that takes him into Colombia, and it goes on from there. But anyway, at the end, they got some statistics and stuff, and one of the most alarming ones that I saw was that right now there are more people in slavery than there ever has been, and it's all because of human trafficking, and it's not just. I mean, it's not slavery like you think. It's like sex slavery with little children. So, yeah. That's where your mind goes when you end up scrolling Twitter first thing in the morning. Anyway, listen. Be aware. Inform yourself. Watch the movie. You know, all of America, we should be aware of these things, right? But look, it's Friday. What are you guys doing this weekend? I know I'm doing something cool this weekend. We're going back in the holler on Sunday. I'm so excited about that. So, fired up. Anyways, y'all have a wonderful weekend and deuces.